First of all, I just want to give full credit to the regional group and to Cáilte na Gaillimh for developing and bringing this really important PMB to the Dáil today. Water is a building block of life, and the provision of adequate water infrastructure is the building block of a functional society. Water waste treatment services are vital for nearly every part of Irish society. Now, the political heat has obviously gone out of water since the days of Fine Gael and Labour water tax, but it's still incredibly relevant for so many people's lives. And I was the chair of the Meath Right to Water campaign back in the day, and I want to echo the call for funding for water infrastructure to come from central government and not from water taxes. Ireland is in a housing crisis, and yet significant housing development in many parts of the country are being held up for the lack of water services. A significant portion of house building is not happening right across towns and villages in Ireland due to the lack of water services. And this is particularly acute in rural and regional Ireland. Also, and people forget about this, investment in infrastructure is significantly dependent on a functional water infrastructure, and vast swathes of regional and rural Ireland simply do not have that infrastructure, and therefore do not have the necessary investment in jobs and development. It's often an invisible reason for the lack of jobs going into regional and rural Ireland, but it's a significant element of that as well. And even the housing estates that are built are still waiting for connections to the water infrastructure. Over 500 estates currently waiting for connection to public water mains. And Ireland is developing into a city-state. We've had significantly lopsided development in Ireland for the last 20 or 30 years. 50% of the population and over 50% of the industrial output of this country will actually come from the Greater Dublin region soon. And while much of Ireland's been turned into a commuter belt, so unless we get real with regards to provision of water services around the country, this will continue to happen. You know, the existing water services are creaking at the seams, and it's a shocking situation that 35 towns and villages have raw sewage flowing into rivers, lakes and coastal waters. Another 78 treatment plants are overloaded currently and are regularly discharging into the system. 40% of the water in Dublin is leaking out of the pipes currently at the moment, and the government's solution to that is unbelievably crazy. It's about bringing water from the Shannon Basin right across the country into Dublin. And mark my words, it will be a children's hospital Mark II with regards runaway budgets into the future. In my own county of Meath, unbelievably, we have a meat factory that's currently seeking to discharge waste into the River Boyne. The River Boyne is a source of water for about 25,000 homes in East Meath, and yet they're looking to discharge their waste in there. It's also a wonderful centre of wildlife, and I've been campaigning for about 13 years for it to be created into a heritage greenway. Can anybody imagine the damage of putting further pollution into that river would do? And I want to thank Peter Whelan, the Slane Aontú rep, for his work against that particular proposal. I put in a PQ into the Minister for Environment recently, and maybe Minister Noonan might help with regards to this, on whether or not the effluent that's been discharged from Tara Mines into the Boyne on a daily basis is within the public health limits. Tara Mines is a really important source of jobs for our county, but we need to make sure that its impact into the water system isn't negatively affecting people living around it. My own town of Navan was for years known as Alice Springs, because every year regularly you could be guaranteed that water mains would burst, streets would be closed and houses would be flooded. And myself and Aontú Trim rep Jack Lynch have been in contact with Irish Water on several occasions because the whole of South Meath is under major pressure with regards water. Ballivor was without water for much of the winter, and Trim town the same. And incredibly, when we contacted and met with Irish Water, they told us that the reason why there's so little water is because people are working from home. There's a 15% increase in demand on water from homes, and this is at the same time that the Boyne was bursting its banks, the source of the water. You know, investment in water infrastructure is oftentimes ignored, especially coming up to elections. But capital investment in infrastructure is massively important for the development of our country in the future. It should not take second place in the debates or the focus in government, and I want to support wholeheartedly the regional group's call for this government to get real with regards to investment in water.